Hello, party people, and welcome to another episode of the Mug Life Podcast. I'm Brittany, and for today's episode, it's going to be kind of short and sweet, and I'm going to be giving you 5 things that are most likely holding you back from reaching your weight loss goals. And I feel like this is a good time of the year to talk about these things because we're out of that, honeymoon phase of January where we have all these goals that we set and we're just like chasing after it like really hard. And I feel like we are done sprinting and we're all just kind of dragging a little bit, right? And now there's another little extra boost, right? Another little kick to the tush, which is knowing that spring is finally upon us. And that means summer is only like 4 months away. And so we kind of have this extra little push this time of year to kind of get into shape, to want to fit into a swimsuit, to, pull out your old pair of blue jean shorts that you're kind of afraid to try on, right? Like when new seasons happen, it's usually a time where we are transitioning into a different wardrobe. And unfortunately, when we go into a new wardrobe, we're also thinking about the way our body's going to look. And so I want to remind you that it's okay that if you have body goals or you want to change the way that your body looks or you don't love the way your body looks in the mirror right now, that's okay. You don't have to love your body. I am not a coach that will preach like self-love all the way in regards to loving the way you look, because you can't just look in the mirror and lie to yourself and make it true, because it's never going to be true. So what I always tell my clients is that you don't have to love your body right now. You don't have to love the way it looks, but you do need to respect it. And part of respecting it is nourishing it and getting it moving. Okay. And so I'm also, I guess I want to make sure I make the point. I'm not saying like talk shit about your body, bad, negative self-talk. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I'm saying it's okay. It's okay to not love what you see. And I think in today's world, we're kind of told that we need to just have this self-love mindset. And it's just like, love every single wrinkle on your face and love every single curve and love every single stretch mark. And it's okay to appreciate it for why it's there and how that's kind of been a part of your journey as a human being. And really, they are just like a roadmap to kind of our life's experiences. But it's also okay not to love it. And of course, I'm not going to go into this, but of course, there's this range of like, these extremes, right? Like we don't want to have super negative body image, but I think there's something to recognizing when we're uncomfortable in our skin and then having motivation from that to want to change your routines and your habits and kind of get those changes that you want, right? There's nothing wrong with that. So I just kind of want to keep us on the right track here. And I want you to be real with yourself. And so these 5 things today, I hope that they're going to give you kind of this more directed approach to what typically we start doing this time of year. Because if you're anything like me and the person that I used to be, I gotta tell you, this time of year almost put me into this panic mode because I was like, crap, it's gonna be summer soon. I'm gonna have to be sitting by a pool and I have to try on swimsuits. I hate swimsuit shopping. And then I have to get jean shorts because I know last year's shorts, I don't even like the way they look on me anymore. Like, why did I buy those? And then you'll just end up living in sweatpants if you just can't go out and do this. So I don't want you to feel like you just have to go on this crash diet or start this crazy exercise plan. These 5 things are going to kind of keep you on course. Imagine them like those bumpers when you go bowling. I'm not a good bowler. I need the bumpers, but I'm going to be the bumpers for you so that moving into the summer and this spring, you start to reach your weight loss goals so much faster, easier, and with a lot less shame and guilt around how you do it. Okay. So number 1, take a drink first, actually. Coffee is just a must in life. Number 1, you've got to lose the I have to mindset. So here's what I mean about that. Have you ever caught yourself saying, I have to eat healthier. I have to cut out sugar. I have to do more cardio. I have to make it to the gym. I just have to eat more salad, right? Like when we say that we have to do something, I don't know what it is. We're wired from a very young age. Think about your toddler. When you told him that he had to eat his vegetables, what does he do? He looks at it and swats it away like it is a deadly mosquito, right? We just innately refuse things that feel forced, right? And so instead of going towards these goals that you have with this, I have to do this mindset, I want you to start leaning into what you want to do and then use those once in the things that you feel motivated intrinsically to do because they align with your values. We've talked about this in my other podcasts. If you haven't, go back and listen to podcast number 1 where I talk about values aligned action. But if we want to do something, then we're far more likely to continue to do it. And it sounds so like, duh, but how many times have you started a strict diet or exercise routine and burnt out within a couple of weeks because it felt forced? Don't answer that. I will answer it for you. A lot, because I did it too. And so let me just give you an example of what I mean. So instead of being like, I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week, I have to go to the gym for an hour. Okay. You can say that and you can say, I have to do this. Or you could say, okay, what aligns with getting in more movement for me as a person and with my lifestyle? Okay. Think to myself, oh, well, I love nature. I really value nature. I like going outside with my kids. I like to, it's really like calming and therapeutic for me to see the trees. And with spring coming up, I can't wait to see the trees starting to blossom and turn green. Great. Okay. So instead of being like, I have to go to the gym 5 days a week, say, I really want to go to the park and go for a hike 3 days a week. And I really want to enjoy that experience with my family. Great. As long as you are taking a step in the direction of what your ultimate goal is, which is moving your body more, right? Because the more we move our body, the closer we move into a deficit, right? Because to lose weight, you have to be in a calorie deficit. And to be in a calorie deficit, we want to increase our NEAT, which is our non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which is basically fancy words for saying our everyday movement, right? We want to increase that. And then we also want to lower our calories. Keeping in mind, that's a very, very vague description of how to be in a calorie deficit. And I am not implying that you should just slash your calories and start exercising more. That's not the way we do things over here on the Mug Life podcast. So, but I just kind of want to make that clear to you that, to lose weight, we have to move our bodies more. And so I want to encourage you to think about, what do I want to do that will just give me the goal that I'm after? So instead of going to the gym 5 days a week, maybe you say, I want to get in more movement. What feels good? What sounds good? Okay, going and hiking more. Great. 3 times a week sounds doable for me. And then I will promise myself that I'm going to start out going to the gym once a week. And if I don't like the gym and I've got some like gym anxiety, which I totally get because it's intimidating to go somewhere new and like do something vulnerable, like lifting weights in front of other people, even though nobody's watching. Maybe you get your dumbbells that have been like collecting dust underneath your bed, pull those out and say, okay, I'm going to hike 3 days a week because that aligns with my values of family and nature and adventure. And then I'm going to lift weights 1 day a week because although it's not something like I really look forward to and I'm still not confident in doing it, it's something that I want to grow towards, right? And so picking an amount of time, an amount of days that feels less intimidating is a great place to start. And what's going to happen is when you go into it with this, like, I want to do this attitude, unless like I have to, like you're just like cracking the whip, you're going to slowly like turn over new pages in your life. And you're going to be like, I do enjoy this. I've been looking forward to my hikes. Oh, after I've lifted weights for 20 minutes in my bedroom, I feel really good. And I feel like my bicep is starting to pop. And you're like, maybe I'll just add in 1 more day of lifting weights in my bedroom. Why not? Like, let's just try it. And eventually you end up going to the gym 3 days a week and you're out and about with your kids all the time, right? And what have you done? You have created more consistency by doing things kind of with smaller steps as opposed to going all in and doing this like, I have to do this thing, right? Where you burn out and you've saved yourself time. Okay. Number 2, you have got to stop waiting on the unicorn. Okay. And what do I mean by that? Motivation is the unicorn. All right. Unicorns are beautiful and exciting and sparkly and pretty. And I'm sure it'd be really fun to ride a unicorn. But here's the thing. We can't wait on a unicorn. We also can't expect the unicorn to be outside of our window every single day. And so we have to remember that if we are expecting to get from point A to point B, right? So point A being where you are now, uncomfortable in your skin, unhappy with the way your clothes fit, not feeling energized, feeling kind of blah. We want to get to point B, which is having more energy, feeling healthy, having good routines, feeling really good in our clothes. Maybe this is summer, right? And you like put on a swimsuit and you're confident in it, right? If we want to get from point A to point B, we want a reliable horse. We don't want a unicorn, although it might seem appealing in the moment. That unicorn will not always be there. Okay. And so we need a good old quarter horse, a good, sturdy, reliable horse. And that horse is actually called systems. All right. This is going to be the very unsexy part of this podcast, and the part where you're like, really? But it's so true. If you want to get from point A to point B, stop relying on motivation and start leaning into better systems. Okay. Let me take a drink before I jump into this one. We live in a world and in a society where everything is, I want it right here and right now, right? And we feel like we always have to chase the next shiny object. And it can feel boring to do the same things every single day. Well, I'm here to tell you, as your friend, sitting passenger seat with you here in my car, that you're going to have to just do the same stuff over and over and over again consistently to get the results that you want. So stop chasing the unicorn and start chasing systems. So what do I mean by that? This can be something as simple as creating triggers throughout the day that keep you accountable. So something like waking up in the morning when your alarm goes off and having something on your nightstand that triggers you to know and to remember what your goals are and why you're waking up early. I've talked about this in previous podcasts, but having a sticky note on your alarm clock or on top of your phone, whatever it is, the first thing you look at, and it says your kid's name on it, right? Or it says the vacation spot you want to go to, some special trip that you want to go on and you're not really in shape to do it. Whatever you want to put on that sticky note to remind yourself of why you're waking up early. I'm not waking up early to get my workout in. I'm waking up early so that I can do the things I need to do, which inevitably is working out in the morning. But I'm waking up because of this bigger why. And when it's less about that workout in the moment and more about the future, you're more likely to get up out of bed, even when you're tired. Okay. Another trigger, you get out of bed and when you go into the bathroom to take your morning pee, because everybody does, you have your gym shoes, all of your gym clothes, everything. And maybe on the mirror, you've written yourself a note. I don't know. I'm a big note person. I'm a very visual person. When we write things down, it becomes real. And so just having your gym clothes there is like a slap in the face that says, wake up, you. This is the promise you made to yourself. We are going to do this. And this is when we're going to do it. We're going to do it right now. Because here's the thing. If you're a mom, especially, if you wait till afternoon or evening to do stuff, it's probably not as likely to happen as if you just do it right away in the morning. Okay. I don't know about you, but I am so much more productive in the mornings than I am in the evening. In the evening, I am tired. But sometimes we got to do what you got to do. And another example with systems would be carrying, I don't have it with me right now, but I carry a big bottle of water, a big jug, 40 ounces of water. Carrying that with you and having that near you and having a goal to drink the entire thing, maybe once or twice during a day, is a great way to keep you accountable. When you just drink water out of a glass, you can easily lose track. You don't always have the glass with you. When you have a water bottle, it says, hey, drink me. You're carrying it with you. It's lighter when you drink more of it, right? So it's less to haul around. But also it's that gratification when you finish off the entire jug. So that's one way to kind of create systems. And then also creating routines, eating the same time throughout the day, making sure you do things like meal prep or cutting up vegetables. You don't even have to meal prep, just have vegetables cut up, have fruit cut up, ready to eat or ready to throw into a stir fry, right? Creating opportunities to make the barrier of entry way smaller, right? We don't want it to feel hard to do the things that we need to do to reach our goals. Because if it feels hard, we're probably not going to do them. Or we're going to come up with some excuse about why it can wait. And so when we create systems or things that we have in place that kind of trigger us, to kind of push us along, we're going to get from point A to point B a lot easier than if we just wait outside and sing Twinkle Little Star and wish for a unicorn, right? And another thing, if you follow me on Instagram, you've probably seen me post about it, but I always pack my gym bag and I take it to work with me, okay? And that way, to leave work, my keys are on top of my gym bag. I have to literally touch my gym bag, look at my gym bag, and be like, okay, I'm going to the gym after work today. I change my clothes at the school before I even leave so that I am basically putting on a uniform. Okay. This sounds so cheesy, but the way that we dress and the way that we carry ourselves really impacts the choices we make. And so if we make it a non-negotiable that we change our clothes before we leave work, you are switching out of work mode and switching into like fitness mode. And you are much more likely to go to the gym, even if you run out of gas, or like, even if you are running behind, or even if you forgot your headphones, whatever it may be. If you are in gym attire, you're much more likely to go to the gym, right? Because that's one less step going home to change your clothes and giving yourself an opportunity to come up with an excuse, or notice the laundry's piling up as you're changing your clothes, or being like, I don't know what I want to wear, or not being able to find your tennis shoes. It's already there. And it's like, no excuses. Put your gym clothes on and get your rear to the gym, right? And that's just like another system that you can have in place. There are so many different ways that you can make it work for you. Obviously, everybody's life is different. And so you kind of have to look at your day like a fly on the wall and think about, how can I make this like stupid proof? Like, how can I make this so easy that on my hardest of days, on the days where I just don't feel like doing anything, I still do it because it's just a part of what I do. And at first that's going to be hard. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. It's not just going to be like, oh, well, make systems. Now it's easy. No, you're still going to want to try and rely on motivation. And some days you will have it. Some days you will feel motivated to go do these things. But honestly, it kind of reminds me of like a graph. So, right, like, so you'll have all this motivation to start, and then it drops way down, and then you work on systems, and it's like, it's like kind of hard. And if you're just listening on audio, I'm showing a visual with my hand, and you're just relying on these systems, and it's hard. And eventually your motivation comes back and it kind of evens out again, right? Because why are we motivated? We're motivated by results. We're motivated by seeing that what we're doing is working. And that middle ground is the hardest part, where most people give up, is because to get those results, to see that it's working, it takes a little bit of time, right? Once we start I'm picture like rolling a snowball down a hill. It's going to take a while to pick up speed, but eventually it's going to get faster and faster and faster. And it's going to feel less hard to do these things, because you're going to start noticing your pants are going to feel looser. You're going to look in the mirror and be like my muscles are popping a little bit, like you're going to feel more energy. You're going to make it to the end of the day and be like, I'm not even that tired. I don't need that extra cup of coffee at 2 p.m. unless you like coffee, and there's no shame in drinking coffee, right? But you'll begin to notice little things, and those little things, those little sparks, are going to remind you to keep going. All right. And so I guess this is me telling you that once the initial motivation wears off and you're in that like uncomfortable, kind of treacherous, like just keeping, one foot in front of the other and doing the dang thing, that's going to be worth it. And the best way to stick through that is to recognize that it is going to be hard, that it's inevitable. But if you stick to systems you set in place and keep the promises you make to yourself, because you know that you're worthy of the body that you want, then that is what is going to pull you through to the end. Okay. All right. Number 3, you have got to stop expecting perfection. All right. I'm somebody who has been I've been a perfectionist all my life. I've been working on not being a perfectionist, and I always want to do like the best, and I want to be the best. And I've always been somebody that beat myself up for not being the best. And so this is coming from somebody who is still working on it, but has gotten so much better through the process, telling you that we've got to stop thinking about our weight loss journey as like pass and fail, right? It's not like I did it or I didn't do it. It's an experiment. And so I tell my clients all the time that if we can start thinking about our weight loss journey as an experiment, right? Like, think about it like a science experiment. There's no like pass fail with a science experiment. You just kind of like go in, you try some things out, and you make note of things that work, you make note of things that don't work, and then you adjust, right? It's not, there's no you attached to the process. It's not like there's no shame in it. There's no guilt. It's just like, oh, well, I noticed that didn't work for me. And this system just like felt not good. And I wasn't motivated to do this. And okay. And when I ate this diet, I didn't have energy when I did this, but I noticed when I ate it this time, I had more energy then. And I really enjoy going to the gym. And actually, if I go to the gym, I feel more motivated to get my workouts in, as opposed to working out at home, because I'm distracted by my children and I'm distracted by the laundry. Like, it's trial and error, right? And if we can go into it with this experiment mindset where there's no wrong way to do it, it's just finding a way that works best for you, you are going to feel like this weight is lifted off of you, and it's no longer about you and how you failed the diet. It's like that diet failed you. That wasn't right for you. It didn't work for you. It didn't fit your lifestyle. And I talk a lot about that with tracking macros. People feel like it's just so hard for them, and it's like, it must be my fault. Like, I'm just not good at it. No, it's because it's a lot. Tracking macros is a lot. And so you did it as an experiment, right? And you're like, okay, that doesn't fit my lifestyle. I'd rather do something like a balanced plate method. I'd rather just do something with portion control and being more aware and using mindful eating practices. Great. We don't have to rely on certain methods and just keep pushing through if we feel that resistance. We're allowed to acknowledge it, be aware, and then pivot without being judgmental of our own worth or our ability to lose weight, right? Like, we can just be like, okay, that didn't work for me. I'm going to try something else. Number 4 is that you've got to stop overthinking everything. Okay. I think if we start going small and really leaning into just like the basics, that's when you're going to finally get the results that you want. Because many times we just go and we overdo it. And if we had just pulled back a little bit, we would get the results that we want. Okay. And so one way, I'm going to give you just like a small tip with this one. One way to stop overthinking it is to start really simple with exercise and nutrition, and that's walking more. Walking in any capacity, taking hikes, going on family walks, walking in the mornings, walking in the evenings, walking around your work during your lunch break, taking a couple laps around the couch before you go to bed, like just walking more, getting up off your booty and walking, just enjoying walking, making it a part of your lifestyle, right? Just doing that alone will definitely make weight loss easier. Okay. And the other thing is eat more one ingredient foods. And when I say one ingredient, I mean like an avocado. I mean like an apple, banana, broccoli, rice, quinoa, salmon, beef, chicken, like just things that are completely like from the earth, one ingredient, right? Just eat less processed items. Intuitive eating and mindful eating doesn't mean we just ignore food labels. So look at the food label. If it has a bajillion ingredients, try and choose something with less ingredients, right? Or make your own meal with multiple ingredients, okay? So just doing that alone, so eating out less and just eating more one ingredient foods, definitely will notice an improvement in your energy. I can promise you that, but also will make weight loss a lot easier. Okay. The last one is really short and sweet. And it's just number 5 is pay attention. My gosh, like when I tell you that if you just start paying attention to the way your body feels and the thoughts that you're having around food and exercise, your world is going to change. It is going to make weight loss so much easier. When we are completely distracted by our phones and the fitness apps we're using, and we're tracking all of our food, and it's very number based, we disconnect from our bodies. And when you disconnect from your bodies, how do you expect to change your body when you're not even connected to what it's doing? It always like blows my mind, because I feel like we rely on all this external knowledge and we ignore our internal knowledge. And I talk a little bit about this in the last podcast episode, so I'm not going to go into like great depths about it. Go back and listen to that one. But the biggest thing that I can tell you, the biggest tip, is to start paying attention when you're hungry, when you feel full. Pay attention to what it feels like to be full. Notice your digestion, notice your bloating, notice, when do you feel puffy? When do you feel kind of like lighter? When do you have more energy? What's your sleep like? Like, start paying attention. And then also noticing, like, what are your thoughts around food? Am I afraid to eat this because I think it's going to make me fat? Am I avoiding this food because I heard one time that it's toxic? Like, am I eating a lot of this because it's salty and sweet, and then I'm finishing more of it than I really wanted, and then it gives me a bellyache? Like, how do I feel like an hour after I eat something? How do I feel 2 hours after I eat something? How do I feel the next day? What do I notice about my thoughts are and the way I behave the next day? How do my eating habits reflect onto my children? Like, these are some questions to start asking yourself. And this is going to make weight loss easier, because once we start paying attention and become aware, we can then take action to either change or continue our habits. And so this podcast was kind of short and sweet and kind of punchy, but I wanted to give you guys, I just want to spoon feed you a little bit about how you can start changing the way that you're approaching weight loss so that it feels less forced and it's more about you. And it includes the external knowledge and the internal knowledge. And we're aware that it's not just going to have to be one way. We're going to have to do some trial and error. We're going to have to find out what works best for us, and that everybody is different. And please, 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 this is number 6, kind of, just stop trying to copy what somebody else is doing, because what they are doing won't fit into your life because they are not you and you are not them. Start trying to figure out what works for you. Okay. And that's going to be hard at first. It will be. But as you start to experiment and make note and pay attention, it will become easier. And I guess that's it. Make sure that you share this with somebody you love. Spread the word about the Mug Life podcast. Leave me a review. Let me know what you think. And I would love to hear what other topics you'd want me to chat with you about. And thanks so much for being here. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.